Story 1. Do I know they'll be back? Or did I just wake up and find they're gone? If so, I will spend my time grieving the loss of 80% of my family. Story 2. I would feel sad, especially if I didn't know they would be back in 24 hours. I would wonder if my sisters were okay, along with my mom and other women I know. It would be very confusing. They just disappear, and I'm left walking around in a large group of men. Story 3. Do we receive a warning? I am sure most of us would panic if family members suddenly went missing. Story 4. Do I know they are coming back? If so, I would take the day off work and just spend time with my kids. If not, I am panicking, wondering what happened to my wife and how I am supposed to handle single fatherhood. Story 5. Why did I take this seriously? Do we live in a world with wizards or something where this is not a completely mind-shattering event? Do I have to question if I live in the Matrix, or if God is both real and vengeful? Assuming it's not unimaginable like our world, and that I don't know it only lasts 24 hours, I slowly walk through my recollection of the past day and try to remember if I had taken any drugs. I check for ways to see if I am dreaming. I stick my arms to my side and spin around. This feels weird in a dream and sucks you into deeper sleep. I test for head injuries. After not waking up, I hope I can focus on the task at hand. I look around for coherent people who can handle having their minds blown and try to organize. Working-class jobs are disproportionately held by men, so water and power shouldn't be interrupted. Transportation is tricky because a bunch of cars just lost their drivers, but depending on the hour of the day, most or nearly all people behind the wheel are men. Arbitrarily, I'll say that it takes 4 days before roads are cleared and food starts coming into population centers again. Panic and hoarding will obviously be a problem, but most law enforcement are men again, and they aren't just well-armed but borderline militarized, so my gut says they will ruthlessly put down civilian looting and hoarding while taking all those resources themselves to protect. They will be the biggest and nastiest gang, but the most altruistic of the bunch. Amateur radio enthusiasts are nearly all men, and they will be a boon. My hunch says text messaging will work intermittently, but voice calls will be impossible. So that's the good news. The bad news is the fire department will be busy. 50% of people disappearing will start a lot of fires and accidents. Since it happens everywhere, any backup will be occupied, and many small fires will spread. Triage will be pretty ruthless and heartbreaking. This compounds the other big problem, children. A lot of kids and babies are on a ticking clock. Even if there is a man alive, aware, and determined to get there, it could take a long time on foot. Okay, back to me. I'll be optimistic about myself and say that I focus on the immediate tasks at hand. I fill up garbage bags with potable water, putting them in the bathtub, boxes, and any containers I have. I grab all the flashlights, batteries, and first aid supplies I have and check on my neighbors. I try to organize with any half-sane men I find. I knock on doors to start checking on people and recruiting, spreading the word to mark doors with OK, or any relevant information. After a blur of 24 hours, suddenly women reappear. Once the emergency at hand is resolved, I stop holding back and reassociate. I grew up in an abusive home without a safe place or person. I think that's why, from experience, I know that I hyperfocus during emergencies and traumatic events because they cut away all extraneous possibilities and concerns, leaving behind clarity and the courage of convictions. These thankfully few experiences have been my calmest and most sure moments somehow. If this is a crazy world where wizards or aliens pull weird pranks, then I'd stay in bed and wait it out. I'm old at heart now. If it's not a real emergency, you're on your own. Iceland has had a 24-hour women's strike a few times, so we have a little context for how it would go. Story 6. I used my girlfriend's face wash and a few other things I wasn't allowed to touch. You know, the ones that smell like her. So good. I would also hide all her scrunchies, so when she comes back, she can lose her mind over it for a while. Story 7. I would be terrified at the prospect of losing my mother. I love her dearly, as does the rest of my family. My father would be heartbroken. Story 8. My husband doesn't use Reddit or social media at all. He said, if it were a weekend, I would be upset that you and our daughter weren't answering your phones. I would have no idea that all the women were gone. just that you two are. If it were a workday, I would be a mess because my entire department is staffed by women. I would have to do all the jobs. Story 9. Hang out in my worn-out clothes all day, drink beer, eat junk food, shout expletives out the window, and scratch myself like it's nobody's concern. Story 10. Call in sick to work and spend the day taking care of younger relatives. Feel horrified as the death toll rises from all the fatherless children who died in the weeks and months that followed. Story 11. I'm a girl and I came to read what the guys were writing. I was expecting something terrible, but many people say they would wait a day for the girls. So sweet. Story 12. My friend has a young child who should not be left alone, so I will go and babysit until the mother returns. Story 13. In the Navajo creation myth, there was a world where men lived separately from women. The separation of women and men. One day, first man brought home a fine deer that he had killed. First woman said, "I thank my body for this deer." First man demanded to know what she meant. "I mean that you bring me food because you wish to be intimate with me," she said. "But we women could live happily without men. We are the ones who gather the food and till the fields. We have no need for men." First man grew angry and called all the men together. "The women think they can live without us," he told them. "Let us see if that is true." For 4 years, the women and the men lived apart. During this time, the food that the women harvested decreased because they had no tools, while the men produced more food. However, each group longed for the other. The women sought to fulfill their needs with bones, feathers, and stones. The men tried to relieve their longing with fresh meat. One man, Kaidiastezi, attempted to satisfy himself using the liver of a deer. An owl called out to him to stop. "This is wrong," the owl said. "No good can come from this separation. You must bring the men and women together again." As it turns out, the owl was right. From the women who had sought to fulfill themselves with foreign objects, monsters were born. These monsters would go on to terrorize the people wherever they roamed. Story 14. I would probably feel really sad missing my partner and hope she is okay. I would be panicking as well, hoping nothing has happened to her. Story 15. Probably spend 24 hours in blind panic wondering why half the world's population just disappeared. Story 16. Probably, people would panic and be glued to the news, wondering what happened to the women. By hour 23, there would likely be cloning programs trying to bring them back. Women would return to their boyfriends or husbands, who would be there pulling hair out of their hairbrushes. Story 17. Oh boy. If I had advance notice, I would do my best to plan being where my girlfriend lives to spend those 24 hours with her son. I would plan a fun day with him and his uncles and keep him distracted until the time was up so he wouldn't realize his mom, grandma, and aunts had suddenly disappeared. I would watch a long movie once night arrives so he would get tired and doze off, and by morning they would all be back. If I didn't have advance notice, it would make things a little more complicated. Story 18. I sleep as long as I can to pass the time faster. My girlfriend is my best friend. I do not want to spend 24 hours without talking to her. I already have to go days without seeing her because she is an hour away from me. Story 19. I will probably join the search parties for my friends and their wives. If we had known it was happening, we would be very concerned. Story 20. I would probably lose my mind trying to figure out where my 5-year-old daughter was. It would be devastating. If I made it to see her again, there would be an immediate flood of competing emotions, and this would severely affect how I parent for at least half a year, with hints of underlying trauma being expressed in how I treat her for the rest of my time on the speeding blue ball. Story 21. I am very concerned for my mother and daughter. If a complete unknown were involved, it would likely override any enjoyment I could have, to be honest. Beyond that, I am not sure what would be different. I like the women who practice jiu-jitsu with me in general, 2 out of 3. My gym is predominantly men, has no cardio equipment, and mainly consists of racks, benches, and chalk. I cannot help but hear my neighbor scream like a banshee. Story 22. I don't know what's going on. I go crazy looking for my daughter, wife, and mom. I I know what's going on, usual things like cooking, walking the dog, and exercising. Story 23. Go to work and be severely understaffed while simultaneously having a lower number of patients. About 60% of our team consists of women. Story 24. Well, since that would mean my partner disappeared, I would be desperately trying to figure out where she went or got taken. Story 25. My work would likely fall apart. We have one male waiter, so I would probably have to cook and serve the food. In essence, I would be overwhelmed and would have to double my workload. Story 26. I mean, it all depends on whether I know they are coming back. I know they are coming back. My son and I have a carefree day together. I don't know if they are coming back. My wife and 2 daughters have just disappeared, and I would be a bit upset and confused by that. Story 27. I believe it would resolve the transgender question quickly. If they identify as women, then they are women. If not, then those with bigoted views will create controversy. The same applies for transgender men as well. Story 28. I work in a male-dominated workplace and engage in hobbies that are predominantly male-oriented. Aside from wondering where my girlfriend is and why I can't reach my mother on the phone, I probably wouldn't notice. Story 29. Panic and then run to stock up on essential supplies. This would affect every level of society and the smooth operation of critical logistics, healthcare, power, and government. Half the world's population has disappeared, and we saw what happened during lockdowns, which wouldn't have had nearly the same disastrous effect that this would, even if we knew they would return after 24 hours. Story 30. My partner is the only thing keeping me here anymore. If I were to wake up and find her gone, not knowing if she would return, I would say my goodbyes to the people I talked to and then visit my dog's grave in the back to say my final farewell. Story 31. Watch which news channels are still reporting on sudden incidents involving driverless cars, ships, planes, and equipment failures occurring while the operators are absent. I hope I do not need to visit the now massively understaffed hospitals. Story 32. Take some paid time off. Call my married friends who are rarely available to get a tea time. Play golf, throw some darts, enjoy a couple of pints, and likely play some video games. Story 33. I worry about my mom and feel helpless, as the situation is entirely out of my control. Cannabis may be involved. Story 34. Go to work, go home, and make a burger for me and one for the puppy. Then play college football until bed. Story 35. Change the music in the office. I hesitate to ask for the classic rock music from the 1980s and 1990s that my parents introduced me to. Instead, it's the pop music from the 2000s and everything by Ed Sheeran. Story 36. Reminds me of the episode of MASH where the nurses had to evacuate and the men destroyed the operating room. Story 37. Enjoy my vacation day. Going beyond a day would make me say, that's enough vacation for me. I wouldn't want to live in a world without women. They instinctively excel at many things that men struggle with. Additionally, they are essential for the continuation of the species, and I would prefer not to face extinction. Story 38. If I knew they were coming back, I would have the most epic guys' night this world has ever seen. If I don't know if they're coming back, I'll try to figure out how to get them back by any means necessary. Story 39. Nothing, because it would be like a normal day for me. My interaction with women is minimal. I live alone and work in a male-dominated industry. Story 40. My boss, colleagues, and girlfriend are all women. I guess I will stay home, play video games, and order a pizza. Story 41. I am here to point out that half of the comments are about something funny that men would do, and the other half are about missing the women in their lives. When this is posted in women's spaces, it often becomes an overwhelming collection of personal attacks against men, suggesting that the world would be better with only women. Yet somehow, men are portrayed as the tyrannical patriarchy that hates and strictly oppresses women. Story 42. Go to work. This is not intended as an insult against women. They simply do not have much of a relevant impact on my daily life. Story 43. Only women or all females? Because women implies only those of adult ages, while girls refers to children. Story 44. Skip working and lamenting my missing wife. I play video games and wait for someone smarter than me to figure it out, assuming I know that all women are missing and it's not just my wife. Story 45. I would wake up, drink some coffee, relax, be productive, tackle some projects, respond to messages on Reddit, watch some movies, make dinner, hang out, and then go to bed. Story 46. Honestly, if it's only 24 hours, there's a high chance I wouldn't notice. Most of my family is female, but I don't talk to them daily. My partner is also a man, so I wouldn't miss anything there. I'm the only person in my office when I'm working, and I don't have any female colleagues locally whom I see every day. Story 47. Do I know they are coming back? If so, I would order some barbecue, crab cakes, a nice slice of strawberry cheesecake, and a good cigar. I would sit in my gazebo and eat. Then I would take a long bathroom break without my wife or daughters asking me anything. I would not flush immediately. Afterward, I would return to the gazebo and smoke my cigar while relaxing. Story 48. Worry about what happened, figure out it's worldwide, assume someone else is going to figure it out, and go on about my day, probably barely talking. Story 49. I would guess that many of you would do what people do on the steak subreddit. Hey everyone, my partner is out of town. Look at this amazing steak I made just for myself. Story 50. Does this include female dogs too? If so, I would miss my dog but be relieved not to have to watch my mom's dogs. I would spend the day with my cat, play some video games, smoke some cannabis, watch the news, and see what they have to say about the phenomenon. I would probably call my grandfather to make sure he is all right. Just relax. Story 51. Going out for drinks with my father and doing things my mother would have disapproved of. I might also meet some bisexual men whose girlfriends are not around. Story 52. Intriguing question and following answers. It's a great topic of conversation. I find it particularly interesting that men's first thoughts are of their partner or family. When reversed and women are asked what they would do if men disappeared, they tend to answer, walk at night, leave the store with keys in their pockets, sunbathe at the park, swim in the lake. Women answer, feel safe, be free. Men answer, wait, relax, enjoy peace, or be bored. My husband's answer was, not much different, but avoid the hospital. The nurses are gone. I wonder what would happen if we could strive to gift our partners and families this experience now. Story 53. I would probably worry if they ever came back. That is more than half the planet. I would definitely stay inside until we figured it all out. Story 54. Is this before or after their morning dog walks? I prefer if they could disappear beforehand so I don't have to keep an eye out for dog waste, which is everywhere because of them. Story 55. I wonder why my wife hasn't messaged me all day. When I find out what the problem is, I will message her. Welcome back. Story 56. Finally, I eat a large portion of beans and chorizo, knowing I will manage the gaseous consequences for the next 24 hours. I also plan to go into all the women's restrooms within a 12-mile radius and place small whoopee cushions under each toilet seat. After that, I will probably clean the house and prepare dinner so that when my partner returns, she will find everything ready. Story 57. If I know they are coming back, I will wait. If I wake up and they are just gone, I will probably go looking for them. By the time I start to realize they have completely vanished, they will likely be back already. Story 58. 1. Use a women's restroom. Wear my wife's underwear without judgment. Go to the pub without permission. Go to the movies without permission. Go golfing without permission. Visit a friend's place for a barbecue without permission. Attend a sports event without permission. Watch a movie on the 75-inch television without permission. Go to the gym without feeling uncomfortable when passing someone or looking in their direction. 10. Eat what I want. 11. Smoke a cigar. 12. Go for a long drive without stopping every 5 minutes for breaks. 13. Finish by going to my favorite place and just enjoy the view without permission. Story 59. I would miss my girlfriend, honestly. I would spend the whole day becoming more and more panicked as I realized that my sisters and mother were all gone as well. Assuming everything still works with half of the workforce absent and I can even get in touch with my family. Story 60. I presumably had about 10 road accidents because no one warned me that there was a car a mile away. Story 61. I'm sorry, but I can't access URLs or external content. However, if you provide the text you want me to edit, I would be happy to assist with correcting spelling errors, replacing acronyms, and improving the overall clarity. Story 62. Ring punch abounds as I hurry to the rustic library, waiting to swim. Story 63. If I know they will return, I take the day off to spend time with my son and do something enjoyable. With half the world gone, work isn't getting done, so I can easily miss a day. If I am unsure of their return, I call my dad and express my feelings about my wife, mother, and all my friends and relatives. I take time off to be with my son and begin therapy. I miss my wife tremendously. Story 64. 24 hours is nothing, but if no one knows it's going to be 24 hours, I will reach out to my straight friends immediately and say, hey, it's prison rules now, so it's not inappropriate to let me help you. Story 65. I doubt I would notice. It is Monday morning. I live alone and work from home. Unless someone outside is running down the road screaming, "Where's the missus?" Someone would have to tell me that it was something that happened. Story 66. For 24 hours, I probably would not notice or care. By the week point, it might seem noticeably odd, but it is not a big deal. After a couple of months, everyone would accept it as the new normal and move on. Feminism has spent decades emphasizing, I don't need a man. Guess what? The opposite is also true. I don't need a woman. The only thing the I don't need a man mantra has proven is that women are also not necessary. Congratulations, feminists. You have shown that your entire sex is almost valueless. I hope all your successes make you happy. Story 67. Have a beer with my friends, smoke a brisket and some ribs, go fishing for a few hours, and enjoy the peace and quiet. Story 68. Continue with my day. I have been invisible to women for 30 years, so 24 hours isn't that much of a difference. Story 69. I presume I wouldn't know what was happening and would likely stay home, learning from the news about the situation, assuming that I don't end up frantically searching for my mother. Story 70. Honestly, I wouldn't really notice until someone pointed it out. I work in a mostly male workplace with my immediate team being all men. Story 71. I love the responses. It wasn't what I was thinking, but they are nice. What would I do? Probably what I do now. Construction, mostly men, so it would be peaceful. Gaming would be easier without distractions, but then again, I'm single anyway. Story 72. Be dead or not. How do transgender people fit into this scenario? Am I dead? Or does the entire community of transphobes have something to laugh at? Story 73. Honestly, it depends. If this was planned, I would continue with my daily life. If it was unplanned, I would most likely join the mass search efforts that would take place. Story 74. In this scenario, is it known that they are coming back? Otherwise, I would be very upset. Some of my favorite people are women, such as my daughter, wife, mother, and sister. Also, where are they going? Story 75. If the cause was known, there is no need to worry. If it wasn't, it would be concerning. My children live over 1,000 miles away, and they would have very few people to look after them. They are young teenagers, so they can manage a day alone, but much more than that would make me very worried. Story 76. Do I know they are coming back? If yes, I just hang out for a day. If no, I hang out for a few days and go from there. Story 77. With the exception of sex, I would just go on as I usually do. Then I would find someone for sex that day. An insensitive person is an insensitive person, you know? Story 78. Is it just women? What about the children? Do they go too? If not, that would be a nightmare. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.